when the whole situation happened at Irving Plaza, it was crazy because again, so many different relationships and ties behind the scenes. And it's like, yo, what the fuck happened? What's going on? So to watch it play out over the years, I wanted to do more sitting back and just observing and seeing what was going on and, let things play out. You don't want to speak on things prematurely. We did have Trife on early, but that was to talk about more so just from the angle of actually losing a loved one and this whole situation that people think is just content.
And it's crazy how much things have shifted in podcasting with that time. Because in no way am I going to say we knew what happened
right
that next day.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody was talking.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you look at the trial, which I'm not saying is true or not true, it was close to what people had heard.
Yeah.
If you imagine podcasting where it is right now, the amount of episodes that would have existed from top podcasters that next day.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Irving Plaza happens in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Does it take 5 years for a trial?
Well, we know it took that long because we got the pandemic after that.
Of course, but I'm saying the amount of things that happen and how much podcasting has even changed and the amount of people that have talked about that situation being so close to it. It's insane to me how crazy that would have been had that happened tonight and the next day if podcasting was here.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been a snitch fest to get the headline
from
everybody that we know not to do that.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's...
And I'm not doing the conflicting, hypocritical Vlad shit that I talked about before. That was so personal to that podcast space at that time where all of us were in the same circles.
Mm-hmm.
Street, not street.
Right.
The way people would have ran to get those headlines at that time would have been crazy.
Yeah, it would have been, people...
It's weird to me that people waited so long to now do it because now it's more accepted.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's we could talk about that all fucking day.
But it's, again, looking back that year and what podcasting was, obviously, 5 years later? It's
6.
Podcasting is drastically different. It's way bigger than I think any of us thought at that time back then would be. We saw the potential in it, but because of people like Tax and what he was doing, it kind of furthered the process and the progress of podcasting.
Mm.
And that night changed a lot of things. Looking back now, but just the space now, with Tax having to go through this and being away from podcasting, so many things have been affected because podcasting is an ecosystem. It is a community. And if you take out somebody that's doing what Tax was doing at that time and what his show meant and what it represented, you take that away from the ecosystem, then so many other things happen and don't happen at the same time.
For sure.
And it's unfortunate because you think about the great things that were on the way and were getting ready to happen, and how just one night kind of changes everything and turns everything on the air, and now everything is different. And at times you can't help but sit back and think, how many times does that happen? How many times does a situation take place that affects an industry or a culture the way that did?
That and Combat Jack's passing.
Right.
Those two things back to back change things drastically.
Mm-hmm.
The entire space is different.
Mm-hmm.
Black Effect is different.
Right.
Revolt is different. Spotify is different. Every network that has kind of existed, I think, is different once Combat Jack changes, and Tax being probably the most prominent person, let me not say probably, the most prominent person on Loudspeaker Network, and that's not to take away from Kid Fury, anyone like that. Brilliant idiots as well. Tax and Combat Jack, that back-to-back shit changes the entire landscape. And I'm not taking away from anyone's talent that is thriving right now.
Mm-hmm.
But the world changes in this entire thing when it comes to our demographic of podcasting.
Yeah.
Period. Rap changes.
Mm-hmm.
How we look at media changes. I just don't think this world exists the exact same way. I don't know if our podcast looks the same. Has that not happening?
Right.
It's so weird to think. I think about it a lot, actually, with Combat leaving so prematurely and then the tax thing happening. Well, shit, the tax thing happening before. It's odd to think how this would have been way different.
Mm-hmm.
And I even look how things are covered. Way different. The whole loudspeaker network at one point, of course, had its gossipy shit, but we looked at Combat's shit as the God podcast as far as what podcasting should look for, integrity, real journalism, all that type of shit. It was the Wild Wild West after he passed.
Yeah.
We turned into Shade Room after Combat passed. And I'm not saying maybe that wouldn't have happened. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But journalism looks way fucking different in the podcast world after Combat is gone and after that tax thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see it looking the same way. I think there's a bit, I don't want to use the word integrity, but it's just more controlled. I think we're expected more.
Yeah.
It's less than just a bunch of microphones. I think we hold ourselves to a better standard if Combat is still here. If Loudspeaker, even, I sat with Combat a million times when he wanted to bring us over there.
Yeah.
And it didn't make sense for us, but Combat, we were fine afterwards. We were still friends.
Mm-hmm.
It's still held to a certain integrity.
Yeah.
Because you look crazy when the number one shit is doing things based off integrity.
Mm-hmm.
And Tax, say what you will about Tax, your opinion is your opinion. Said wild shit. There was a form of integrity in everything that he did on that podcast.
Right.
It has turned, look at what we in now. Like, podcasting has gotten so watered down that how we're keeping this shit going is beefing with each other.
Yeah.
Like,
which is
like, this shit has gotten so fucking corny, and I'm not taking myself out of this. I've been a big participant of this. How we keep this shit moving is we're beefing with each other. We've ran out of interviews. Everyone's been interviewed. I don't know how many more times. Maybe we'll get a little baby interview.
Right.
I just saw Rory doing Bert Kreischer shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to put our stamp on it once again. I know people will never give us credit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now y'all going to the comedy world? Now y'all see where podcasts and the YouTube is really moving? I get it. Bert Kreischer is Bert Kreischer. Rory, I get it. That's the only move to make now. We've interviewed everyone. And even the fan, I'll get mad at the fan base. They only want to see the drama shit. Or they want to see the new interview and the interview doesn't have some salacious shit.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're all sitting here like, well, we might as well beef with each other. We might as well scream into a microphone and a camera and say, let's fucking beef.
But
that's what's keeping podcasting alive.
But the irony in that is the whole situation is from a beef.
But nothing to do with podcasting.
But nothing to do with podcasting. But I can't.
But I also don't think if podcasting doesn't exist, I don't know if that beef happens.
NewRoryNMal.
Hey. It's me, Rory.
Oh, you can't yell hey at people like that.
Just saying hi to all the listeners, just to let them know we have Patreon, and you should go there.
Subscribe at patreon.com/NewRoryNMal right now to receive bonus content each and every week on our Patreon.
And might receive a tee. There'll be early versions of merch on there, tickets, all that shit. It'll be amazing. I promise.
Might even see some feet.
Definitely Demaris' feet. We can't guarantee, but if you hit the Discord, you might be able to see some feet. Or maybe we'll take some sneak photos of her feet for the $20 tier.
That's weird.
That's
NewRoryNMal
That's
on
weird.
Patreon.
Sneaking pick feet.
Yeah.
Feet pics. Pig feet up feet pics. Yeah.
So clearly Patreon is the place to go now. Patreon.com/NewRoryNMal.
/New Rory.
All right, do the /.
Yeah.
But then New Rory and Mal.
/ might send you the back page.
And then double / Demaris' feet pics to get that other tier.
Subscribe now.